Welcome to the Dean Bleckman Show, live from Long Island. Free-flowing talk with a charismatic, down-to-earth host. Join Dean as he interviews and chats freely with his guests, ranging from superstar athletes to politicians, industry titans, and everyday folk with fascinating life stories. Dean educates, entertains, and most of all, touches people's lives. You're listening to the Dean Bleckman Show, live from Long Island.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dean Bleckman Show. Going across the Atlantic Ocean is the fabulous senior correspondent in the United Kingdom, Ria Bowe. Ria, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dean, and good afternoon, lovely listeners. Today is Boxing Day. It's the 26th of December, 2016. And this show is online news versus mainstream media news. So Dean's going to pick up on some mainstream media, and I'm going to do my online news thing, and we're going to sort of look at the comparisons and see what's going on, seeing what's being spoken about. And obviously we're not on top form, and we've just had a quick chat with Dean, and he's probably eaten a bit too much for Christmas. Where are you on this, Dean?
I think a little bit of celebrating, Ria, a little bit too much holidays, a lot of great times. Once again, a lot of eating and a lot of red wine. So it's time to, what I say, detoxify and get the body back. But Sharon and I, with our children and friends and family, Jewish, non-Jewish, we've, the last couple of days, we've had an incredible, remarkable time with family and friends. Just unbelievable. So I don't know what it's been like for you over there in Europe during the holidays.
It's been a busy time. I'm surrounded largely by Christians, so Christmas is a big time. And obviously everybody's on board with it. Friends, family, spreading the love. Some people you can see, but when you do, I love people watching, you can see are doing a fair bit of obligation. They don't really want to do it, but they kind of do it. But it's best to kind of laugh at those kind of things, I think, because what do? It's probably better just to get on board and spread the love. What do you think, Dean?
A lot of love. I think it's great. We need more of that, and it's a lot. It's such a great thing. It's just the food. When it gets to dessert time, Ria, with me, if it's put in front of me, it's devoured.
Oh, I believe you, darling. I believe everybody does it, don't they? And probably today is the worst day, isn't it?
It's the worst day. So we've got to wait a couple of more weeks before we go to video to put that camera on me to shrink my belly a little bit.
Maybe we can buy a special lens or something.
Well, listen, let's get to that topic of mainstream media. You can't miss it anywhere. Everywhere in mainstream media, Ria, here in the United States. I don't know what's happening in Europe, but the big story breaking since this past Friday. The Obama administration abstains from anti-Israel UN vote. I mean, it is anywhere you look, anywhere in the United States, mainstream media, TV, radio, online, it is hot. It is a hot button and a hot topic.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it myself. I kind of went online to get clued up a bit more about the Israeli-Palestinian thing. On my YouTube channel, I've put a brief history of the Palestine and Israeli people's history of conflict, and it does go back as far as what I thought, but I just sort of got genned up on it to have a larger picture rather than just what's going on. Where are your thoughts with it, Dean?
Well, let me give you my thoughts. And when you go back in history, Ria, the United States, their abstention at Friday's United Nations Security Council vote on a resolution condemning Israeli construction beyond the 1967 lines has left many speculating as to how the American decision not to veto came to pass. 1967. I mean, it is just the Obama administration, from a long-standing tradition of U.S. defense of Israel, at the UN this past Friday and allowed the passage of a resolution that harshly criticizes the country's expansion of Jewish settlements in the Palestinian territories. I mean, this is a couple of weeks left in President Obama's administration. This is a tsunami. This is a 10 earthquake. This is huge, Rhea. I don't know what kind of news it's over there in the UK and throughout Europe, but it is hot right now in mainstream media.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it breaking headlines around the world, but it's nothing like as big as what it is in the US, Dean, I've got to say. In the UK, they've barely touched on it, to be honest, Dean.
Well, in case you're not up to speed, let me just share a little bit with you. This resolution was put forward by 4 non-permanent Security Council members, New Zealand, Malaysia, Venezuela, and Senegal, just a day after Egypt, which had originally sponsored the resolution. They withdrew under pressure from President-elect Donald Trump and Israel. Both Trump and Israel called on the Obama administration to veto the resolution that demands that Israel immediately and completely cease all settlement activities in the occupied Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem, and puts forth that such construction has no legal validity and constitutes a flagrant violation under international law. Rhea Bow, I've had over these last 8 years tremendous respect for our president, tremendous respect for the First Lady, for his entire family. He's held himself with tremendous class. I'm just shocked as an American, as a Jew. I'm just shocked with just a couple of weeks left in his administration that under this resolution, Jerusalem's Jewish quarter and Western Wall would be considered occupied territory. And I just find that absurd. I'm just shocked that the president, with 3 to 4 weeks left in his administration, that this type of position has been taken on Israel. What's your thought?
My thoughts are, unlike yourself, I'm not an Obama fan, particularly. It's not an Obama thing. I'd like to see a president in that I feel is doing it for the people and not for the wrong people. So I'm on side with you, Dean. It's really giving the pot a stir, isn't it?
It's pot. You can't imagine what's going on here right now in the United States. I mean, people are up in arms. It is a fire that has been lit right now. So you've got to understand, while the resolution's passage is likely to do little to sway Israeli policies, the decision not to veto by President Barack Obama, he's had such a tenuous and such a hostile relationship with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu the last 8 years. This marks a substantial break from the long-standing American policy of defending Israel against one-sided resolutions criticizing the Jewish state at the United Nations. I mean, top Democrats here in the United States have slammed this decision by their own party's president. It's all over mainstream media.
I've seen some of it, Dean. I think with President Obama, he's sort of breaking cover, really, in my view. I think we're in the world of politicians. The old saying is nothing's more slippery than a politician's truth. And I think we're going to see more of it. When you hear some of the news I've got, what else he's been up to, Dean, it paints a bit more of a picture as well. We have
a powerful senator here in New York, Charles Schumer. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but here's a quote right out of the New York Times today. Whatever one's views are on settlements, the UN is the wrong forum to settle these issues. It's being attacked and criticized all over by many.
Yeah, I've seen it. Right. So have you got a point of anything else with it before we move on to another story? No,
just, it's in closing on this story, Rhea, One thing I will say is that the Jewish people all over the world, and especially in Israel, Jewish people will persevere. That's my final comment on this subject.
Yeah, no, and good for them is what I say. And my thoughts to close down on it would be, I think he's made Israel a less peaceful place, Dean.
Yep. So, I don't know if you caught Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's speech yesterday. I wish I could repeat his entire speech. It was extremely powerful, emotional, articulate, just an unbelievable delivery. If anyone wants to hear it, you got to go online. It's just a tremendous speech he gave yesterday, especially on the first night of Hanukkah.
Oh, yeah, no, I believe you. I did see it, yeah. No, I've seen it. And I think, as I said to you, anybody that follows the show, is the next 5-6 weeks, this was a few weeks ago, are dangerous times, because President Obama has something on his mind by expanding his transition team. And I have some news here as I understand more, as I've dug a bit deeper to drill down of what else he's doing in America and outside America as well, Dean.
The only thing outside of this, Ria, that I had is my condolences and sympathies to the entire British state is iconic pop singer George Michael passing away at the age of 53.
Very sad. 2016 has been a bad year for losing artists. It's all over the news. I heard it break last night. Oh, and my condolences to his family,
I know you have a love for music, Ria.
I do.
Go ahead, back over to you.
Okay, we'll have a couple of look at the stories. I'll break on. I've got a lot here because we're a bit late with the news, but just a quick one. Is that you don't need any feedback on this, but the next one you will. We spoke about the UK Snoopers Charter, where they got access to everybody's computers. We spoke about it on the last bit of the news show, where it turns out someone from inside Prime Minister May's own government, backbenchers and stuff, overturned it. The EU have overturned it, Dean.
Wow, unbelievable.
So it looked like they said it's unlawful, and so it's been overturned. So that's not going through. So that UK charter is not going to happen. So that was a little bit of news you probably didn't hear about. I've got onto some sort of chunkier ones, really. I just found out that Obama has sent 4,000 troops from Fort Carson and 10,000 support troops to the border of Russia.
Wow.
I know. 14,000 troops is shipped over there.
That is a lot of troops, Ria.
Yeah. I heard it coming out of radio well, I won't say where, but it's not broadly known, Dean, But they must feel 4,000 troops coming out of Fort Carson.
Wow.
Yep. So that's what I meant the other day by saying the next 5 or 6 weeks are really dangerous. So there's a bit of that going on. There's not a lot to comment on it. I need to see on which part of the Russian border they end up on, but there's definitely mounting US pressure on the Russian border. All sorts of talk online about the foreign minister for Russia being shot and loads of speculation, so I won't go too much into that. I moved to another story today. I've been following this story for a while. Have you ever heard of a movement, Dean, called Calexit?
I have not heard that, Ria.
So, as you can, like there was Brexit. Well, there's another one called Calexit, which is basically California to exit the United States.
How do you spell that, Ria?
CAL and exit, Calexit. So, I'm not going to go too much into it. I've been following it for a little while, and I'm watching this thing grow. And just to sort of sum it up, if you are interested in Calexit, and apparently this is going to heat up in the next month or 2 or 3 months, so keep an eye on that sort of catchphrase, if you like, Calexit. There's some bad people got in there into the workings underneath of California, along with the governor, and things are not looking good in California.
Wow. A lot of activity, Ria, between what I just reported, what's going on here in the States with Israel, and what the news that you've got boy, with a few weeks left in this administration, there's a lot of activity going on before this administration comes to an end and President-elect Trump comes in.
Yeah, no, he's been a busy boy. He's been a busy boy. Here's another one of Obama's. Obama evokes old anti-oil drilling law in the US.
Wow.
So you can't drill for oil. So this has been invoked. This is a done thing. And so you've got to get source your oil from outside, and you can't, because there's some big oil reserves and stuff, but you're not allowed to drill them. So something else has been up to. I know. Interesting stuff.
Very interesting.
Word online is the Fed is going to dump the economy on Trump's watch because of they've gone public saying they're going to lift the interest rates 3, maybe even 4 times through 2017, and everybody knows the economy won't kind of take it. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the Fed. I watch the Fed anyway. So there's that. So there's not a lot to say about that. A Bernie Sanders one. Can you remember when I was saying on a show the other day about the I've said on a few shows, I bleat on about it, don't I? About the 9.3 trillion missing.
Yes.
And I come up with some audio for you of the Board of Governors in Congress, which was, well, a bit shocking, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Well, I just found out that when Bernie Sanders was running on the early days, this was from 2015, as all this thing was ramping up, I was looking through some of his policies because I knew he wanted Glass-Steagall to be put back in place. He saw it as important, which I do as well. But I also found out one of his policies was to make the American government able to audit the Fed. So my eyes popped out of my head. So that implies to me that you can't audit the government. The American government doesn't have power to audit the Fed.
Wow.
Yeah, that is a wow.
I could never see that happening. The government auditing the Fed.
So that's the wrong way around, though, isn't it? They're supposed to work for you.
Yes, that's right.
So, and I'm hearing what you're saying. So as I'm sort of just keeping my eyes on this a little bit more, I'm coming to a realization that the Federal Reserve, nobody's watching the Federal Reserve.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah, that's big time powerful.
You know, it's just amazing. Once again, I've said it on shows how, I'm here in a Setauket, Long Island studio right in my home. You're coming all the way over across the Atlantic Ocean. You're in another world of Europe and the United Kingdom. And it's just amazing as a senior correspondent for the show, just how much you have on hands-on of news that you don't hear in traditional media here in the United States. You're remarkable, Ria.
Well, you're very kind. It's kind of what I do, isn't it? I mean, it's part of my week and stuff. And when things start to get alarm bells start to ring, because that's obviously a concern that I could dig back further. So I looked further, but at the end of the day, I wanted people to know what I'd found. And with this Bernie Sanders, one of his policies was to be able to audit the Fed. That's what it says. So to me, it implies that the Fed has never been audited. So you don't know where the money's going.
Wow. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ria.
When I played the audio clip of that guy in Congress, Mr. Congress, I don't know his name, and he's questioning that woman, she's ducking and diving and anything you want to do. And he did a quote from Bloomberg about the 9.3 trillion, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Well, when you think about it, I wasn't thinking like this. I was thinking, well, wait a minute. So that must be true, because if they had an audit of the Fed, he could have brought up the audit from the year before, couldn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think they've got it, darling.
Wow.
I don't think the American government can audit the Fed.
I don't believe they can.
No, anyway, I won't dwell on it, but pretty amazing stuff. It's sort of, I don't know, it's gone in my mind and like, wow, that's stinky.
I've got a question for you. How's Bernie Sanders viewed over there in Europe?
I couldn't tell you. Do you know, not many English people, English people, I tell you what, it's amazing what you guys have been exposed to your end with the circus that is politics, we don't get over here. We just don't. And as I said before, you had the whole Clinton scandal of her having an unsecure server. It didn't even make it to the UK, Dean.
Wow. So everything that we witness and we hear and we see and we listen to here, even during this just unprecedented presidential election year, that a lot of the comedy or circus or things that is said doesn't even reach Europe?
Nope.
Wow.
No, none of it. The Clinton scandal, none of it. Every now and then, BBC style, you'd hear a downward, a derogatory comment about Trump, and it's very short. It's not sensationalized, and it's super played down, sort of muted down, as it were, Dean. But I've got more stories if you want them.
Go right ahead.
Okay, this is IMF news. And for those who don't know the IMF, that's the International Monetary Fund. That's like your world money. IMF is another word for world money. They deal in SDRs, which is a basket of currency to save reserve banks of whatever country should they get into trouble. So if the Fed was to fail and go bankrupt, they would look to the IMF for support should that go wrong. I've got news about Christine Lagarde. Have you ever heard of Christine Lagarde?
Yes, I have.
Okay, Christine Lagarde, the managing director of the International Monetary Fund, was found guilty on Monday of criminal charges linked to the misuse of public funds during a time as France's finance minister. A verdict that could force her out of her current post. The judge hearing the case declined, however, to impose any fines or jail time on Miss Lagarde. Right, so what happened, $425 million went kind of walkabouts, right? So, and she's gone up in court. She's been found guilty. And this is the long and the short of it. Bearing in mind that the headquarters of the IMF is in Washington, D.C., along with the World Bank. So it's a Washington thing. So she's been found guilty. She did no jail time. There was no fine. And what's more, she didn't even have to turn up to court.
Wow. Shocking.
I know. No, that's true. She's on a plane to Washington while the court's being heard.
Wow.
I mean, that's another stinky thing, right?
That just broke on her, Ria, Christine?
No, because we're a bit late. It's about a week old. But it was just, these are high-flying folk, aren't they? And they move in those circles. And, yes, she's found guilty, but no, nothing happens. And she doesn't even have to attend court.
Wow.
So I think we both know someone who would like to have worked out like that, don't we?
Absolutely. I guess Christine Lagarde knows somebody.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. Here's another one. Right, so the IMF and the World Bank are intimately connected. I found out, so there's some UK news now regarding this. Interject when you want, Dean, if you want to jump in. But this is about foreign aid policy from the UK is under scrutiny. And the way it works here is our government made an agreement to the World Bank, which is in Washington, D.C., which is connected to the IMF, to give 0.7% of GDP mandated to the World Bank, okay, towards aid. And that sum is £12.8 billion, right? So £12.8 billion a year annually comes out, and that is for aid. Well, is what happens, that 12.8 billion then gets transferred from the UK to the World Bank. And I found out to make that transaction from the UK to the World Bank in Washington, they charge 10%, which is 128,000 millions.
Wow, amazing. So 12.8 billion pounds, that's converted, what's that conversion to?
Oh, it comes out, I don't know, $15 billion.
Wow, and they're charging 10%?
128,000 million to transfer it.
What a revenue stream.
Right, that's just to park the money. And what's more, the World Bank are responsible for what trusts get that money.
Wow, amazing.
And have a guess who's best buds with the World Bank.
That's amazing. That's amazing what you just reported, Rhea.
Mr. George Soros is best buds with the World Bank.
Unbelievable. Incredible.
Right. He's another
That
one.
is, that is, Rhea, that is huge. That's mind-boggling.
This has just been going on. This is not new news. This is just what is going on underneath that nobody talks about.
Wow.
It's just an amazing thing. And what's more, the person that runs the World Bank is nominated entirely by the President of the United States. In this case, on the 23rd of March 2012, President Barack Obama announced that the United States would nominate Jim Yong Kim as the next president of the World Bank.
Amazing. Amazing.
I know. I was.
That's
falling
amazing.
Wow. You know, I can't find any audit on it at all. I don't know where the money goes. I know they charge 10%, 128,000 millions to swap accounts. But what happens to the money after that, I've got no idea. But they do decide what trusts get that money.
I think you have to stay on top of this story, Rhea. You've got to get to the bottom of where this money is going.
Oh, I try, but you run into resistance, Dean. You know, if I talk about it to someone, a lot of people just go, you know, I don't want to go there.
You've got you've got tremendous resources all around the world. You got to keep digging.
I am. Oh, there's more yet. I've got more yet, sweetie. So there's a bit of that. It's an interesting story, right? Kind of the old boys club and all that kind of thing.
You bet.
So we've got some EU news regarding new laws coming up, and it is about. I'm just reading this quickly now because I've only just got in here. Germany now says if Facebook refuses to deal with fake news in a timely manner, it will fine the social media platform 500,000 euros for each false flag or hate speech item it deems unworthy within 24 hours.
Wow. So you're saying the EU will fine Facebook?
Yep.
For everything that they qualify as fake news.
500,000 K.
Wow.
Yeah. If they don't take it down, 500,000 K fine coming their way.
From the EU. Wow.
Yeah, per item.
That's amazing.
I wonder if the World Bank get that money. Anyway, so moving on to the next one. Here's a bizarre one, just a short one. The UK makes legal 3-parent babies.
Wow.
What's going on with us? Yeah, ignore the visuals, people. It's not about that. It's about if a couple have a inherited disposition, let's say, they can enter the genes of a third parent. But what's more is what it means is on a birth certificate there could be 3 parents.
Wow.
That's weird, right?
Very weird. Very
What
weird.
is going on with that? Anyway, so that was just a quick one. I thought that was quite bizarre and sort of...
Very bizarre.
Who thought that was a good idea? But hey, right, here we go. So back on Obama a bit more. Last week I spoke of, do you remember the Global Engagement Centre?
Yes, I do.
What would be akin to the Ministry of Truth from George Orwell for the non-state sponsored media, and it involves censorship. So the Global Engagement Centre look at any media that isn't state sponsored and they say whether they want it seen or whether they don't, whether it fits their agenda or not. Yeah.
I got you. So if it doesn't fit their agenda, it could be censored.
Absolutely. If it doesn't fit whatsoever, it gets censored. So it's a Ministry of Truth thing. It had gone through Congress, gone through Senate, and it was waiting for Obama's signature. Well, he signed it 2 days ago.
Wow.
So Scott was, if I remember rightly, Scott said that, within 24 hours, the Supreme Court will take it down. Was that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Well, let's see. That was 2 days ago.
Boy, that's a game changer, Rhea.
Yeah. Oh, you're not kidding. You got your own Ministry of Truth there. And what's more, here's another one that I just found tacked on the end of the National Defence Act is they're going to replace the Broadcasting Board of Governors, which consists of 9 people and will now be controlled by one person, a CEO appointed directly by the president. And that's for state-sponsored news. So, you know, your CNN and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, that's now going to have one person. There's no board of broadcasters anymore. They're out.
Decisions will be made by one person instead of that 9-position board.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's state-sponsored media. And with this censorship thing coming and coming and coming, I'm watching videos being taken down left, right, and centre. They're dropping. It's speeding up. This thing is ramping up. So make the most of this information while it's there, people, because I don't think it's going to be around much longer.
Wow.
And what was really shocking, you know, I've seen Pizzagate videos taken down. I've seen ones that are questionable taken down. Right, okay, so it's not a shocker. Is what they did take down. Have you ever heard of the historian Noam Chomsky?
No, I haven't.
Well, Noam Chomsky, he's the man. He knows his history, you know. And the UN get him in for advice on history, how history pans out to compare to modern day. They've started taking down Noam Chomsky.
Rhea, is Chomsky spelt exactly how it sounds?
Noam Chomsky. I don't know. I don't know, darling. I don't know. I know. I've listened to him loads. He is such a switched-on gentleman. So passive, so intelligent, just an absolute legend in my eyes. And when the government start to take down historians and want to rub out history, that is the Ministry of Truth at work, Dean.
So Noam Chomsky.
Noam Chomsky, with an O, Chomsky.
Amazing. Amazing.
And with this news, okay, I'm just going to sort of start bringing it up to a wrap. And we're living in this mass surveillance state. It's unparalleled times, and people don't forget about the Calexit thing. It's going to start coming up on the radar. It's just starting to bubble above the surface. But with the mass surveillance, all this security thing, since 9/11, you know, rather than just having the Department of Homeland Security, you now have 17 security agencies and all that stuff.
Wow.
I'd like to give you a quote from one of your founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin. Okay, this is what Benjamin Franklin said. So listen up, folks. This is one of the founding fathers that put the very framework in that the people fought for. And he said this: those who would give up freedom and liberty for security will receive neither, and nor should they.
Wow. Amazing. That's something else, Rhea. Wow.
Back in the, he was on top of it all the way back then.
Wow. Wow. You go. That's amazing.
Yeah, I've also got the Republicans' budget list, which is mind-blowing, but it'll take too long, Dean.
You know, I went back to, had a look at Noam Chomsky, Rhea, for the audience. It's Noam. His last name is Chomsky, which is CHOMSK. And there's some great stuff online on how he views a Trump administration come in that I look forward to delving into. And he seems like a very, very well-versed historian.
He is, Dean. I mean, he's inspired me for years. He's inspired many. He's highly, highly respected. And it was Julian Assange, actually, the WikiLeaks guy, that said, you know you're in trouble when they're trying to rub out history.
Wow, wow.
And Noam Chomsky is right up there, you know, right at the top of the historians. And he, you know, so when you speak to Noam, you know, you might go, well, what do you think about the president? Whatever the question is. And he can look back over centuries. So he has this huge view on what's going on. If anybody hasn't listened to Noam Chomsky and likes that kind of thing, I get it if you don't. But if you do, he's a lovely, lovely guy.
Rhea, is he over here in the States or is he in Europe?
No, he's American.
He's American.
Yeah.
Wow, I've got to reach out to him. That'd be something if we were able to get him on a show with us.
Yeah, I don't know if we'd do that, darling. But hey, if you don't ask, you don't get.
That's right. That's right. It doesn't hurt to try, right? You know the way I am, right?
Yeah, no, I'm all for it, darling. But this is a guy that the UN calls in for advice and stuff.
Doesn't matter. I'm going to try to call him into our show. You just educated me on Noam Chomsky, and I can't wait to read more up on him. Yeah,
I was in shock when I saw it was taken down.
So what else do you have for us today?
I have a long line of. I'm not going to do it today because we'll keep it short. It's Boxing Day. I mean, there's a lot of news there, isn't there? And I'm just going to flash back over the top because people, I think, have said to me, there's a lot of news, just reduce it. But I'll just go over the quick top of it. UK snooper charters bill has been turned over. Obama sends 4,000 troops from Fort Carson as well as 10,000 support troops. Keep an eye on Calexit. It's getting ugly. Obviously, the Barack Obama. Oh, that's what we can speak about, Dean. I sent you a video about the Sheriff's Department found new evidence on Barack Obama's birth certificate on the White House website being fraudulent. What did you make of the video?
Yeah, I once again, I keep using the word remarkable and mind-boggling, but that was where? Wasn't that out of Arizona where that broke?
Yeah, it was the Sheriff's Department out of Arizona.
Arizona, correct. So you see, I definitely take a look at and read and listen to things you send me, Rhea.
And what did you think to the evidence?
It was very powerful. It seemed it was very hard to. I mean, it came right out of the sheriff's office out of Phoenix, Arizona, I think.
It did. If anybody wants to see it, it's out there. The mainstream media, for those who don't know, the mainstream media were there. So a bit of history about this. Sheriff Aparo broke it in 2011, but they didn't have as much evidence. So they went back underground again, sent a detective out, Zolo, I think his name was, Detective Zolo, all lovely guy. You can tell that these guys are real Americans, They're so patriotic and so want the right thing for their person. And they set out to clear Barack Obama from the talk that was going on. And there was a lot of talk about him not being who he said he was. So they went out to prove it. They sent the birth certificate that's on the White House website, one to a top forensics lab in Italy called 4Labs, one to an old school document forensics guy in Hawaii. And they're both admissible in court, and they both come back and said it's a forgery, but yet they can't get it in front of Congress.
Wow. The only thing that I say about that, Rhea, is when you send me something like that, or when I just on my own see a video that's so compelling like that about something that is so controversial and a hot topic, once again, it throws back what is a big news story here in the United States is this topic of, especially through this presidential election, is this topic of fake news. So obviously, when you sent me a video like that, I sit back and I go, wow, is this real or is this fake news? Prove it to me. That's my reaction.
And I think you're right. And I would quote what the Sheriff's Department said along with the detective and just say, show us your birth certificate. That's it. And,
wow.
and it all goes away. Just show us your birth certificate. Give the forensics your original birth certificate and it all goes away.
Wow.
Or it doesn't. But he won't do it.
It's an amazing video. Amazing.
I remember it's the Sheriff's Department.
Right.
It's not just a dude down the street that's making it up and you've seen the video. It's damning, isn't it?
It's damning. It's an incredible video.
Yeah. So anyway, all the mainstream media were there. ABC, well, they're not going to show it, are they? And the only people that actually aired it were Fox 10 out of Arizona. It's the only people that aired it. So there's a bit of that. And what else we got? Here's another one. Right. This is another big one. I spoke about a cashless society a few shows ago,
yes.
If you remember. And I've put a connection together of what's going on. I discovered that as they move towards a cashless society, there's lots of things in favour of the establishment for cashless society. And I spoke of a soft zero instead of a hard zero, which up through history is the way it's been. But now I found out the other day that through Congress has passed a bill. So it's only got to Congress, hasn't got to the House or to the President, but it passed through Congress overwhelmingly. And that is to put RDIF chips into disabled people. Okay. So now when they say disabled people, when I listen to them more, there are people that were like registered with mental health, ADHD and mental health issues. But I don't know. It just says disabled people to be chipped up under the skin or an ingested chip to keep an eye on them kind of thing.
Wow.
So like I said, this has gone through Congress with overwhelming support. So it's en route. There's a lady I came across. Her name is Regina Duyan. She's the head of R&D at Google. Okay, she's top lady at Google, but she did work for DARPA, and DARPA is an apartment inside a department inside the military, inside the government, that works with the latest technologies. She was the director of DARPA, and now she's head of R&D at Google.
What was Regina's last name again, Ria?
I don't know how to spell it. Duyan. Regina, she's the head of R&D at Google. Okay, so I'm going to get to the point here. She was also a key speaker at the Bilderberg Group as well to talk about ingestible chips. Is what they're saying, is what there's a lot of talk of, is when we go cashless, connecting the two together, when we go cashless, there's going to be an ID problem. You've got to prove who you are. And it will start off with cards, then it will go to biometrics, which they're doing in Israel now. They're going to start doing in Israel. And then they're saying it's going to go towards chips, that people use ingestible chips. There's some talk on the underground in early days kind of thing.
Wow. That's amazing, Ria.
And whether you believe it or not, is what it is a fact, is RDF chips to chip disabled people have gone through Congress with overwhelming support.
And this chip will only be used with the disabled?
Yeah, the bill is to chip disabled people.
Wow.
Scary, right?
Scary. Very scary.
Yep, there's a bunch of news for you.
That is very, very scary.
I know. It's all scary, isn't it?
Yes, there's a lot of scary news.
Yeah, it's what it makes me do. I go out and give people loads of hugs and that, so I sort of I react to it in an opposite way. I don't let it sort of oppress me. I just want to raise awareness and then go and spread the love, man, you know.
Right. What else do you have for us today?
That's it for today. That's enough, isn't it? Don't want to scare anybody anymore.
Amazing. Well, listen, thanks for being with our audience today. You've really brought some great stuff to the table, and I know it's holiday time and challenging time this week, fitting in the schedule, but I think we've had a very informative, educational show. So
yeah.
Go ahead, Ria.
I hope people enjoy it. You know, it's something that, for me, just a bit of insight. I don't sort of live in this world all the time of this dark stuff, but this dark stuff is what's going on, and we're in unparalleled times, uncharted waters. It's like I found a thread that's sticking out, and because I'm more curious than a cat, as you know, and I just keep pulling this thread, and each time I pull it, another story comes out, and I just think, well, what is going on? And hence I bring them to the show for us, Dean.
Well, listen, I've said it on many shows, and I said it in the beginning that you're all the way over there in Europe, and our worlds are very different. Our cultures are extremely different here, and I think it's extremely inspiring, very valuable, very informative, and educational that I and the show has someone that's become a dear friend of mine here on the show that brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise and education, and has her hands really glued, informative all over the world with all your resources to bring news through the Dean Blechman Show. And I want to thank you very much for it.
You're welcome, and I need to thank the people that contact me as well, because a lot of people contact me. It's not just me. You know, the amount of messages that I haven't answered, and they're thousands. They are thousands, not hundreds. It's thousands of people that contact me going, did you know about this? And do you know this is what's going on or just happened? And so I need to thank those people as well. There's quite a network behind me when I bring this to you, because this information is not above ground. And obviously, excuse me, for a lot of people it's questionable, but a lot of it is well, when did we speak about the government and all the social media meeting? What was it, 2 months ago? And here we are.
Unbelievable that it's 2 months already.
Just 2 months ago, I said, look out for these people. They've had a big meeting and there's something going down, and look at it now.
Just incredible. So on that note, I want to hear from all our listeners. Our listeners can reach out to us with the free text number for U.S. residents, which is 631-372-8849. We'd love to hear from all of you. Include your name and location, and we will mention you on the show. Please don't forget to like us on Facebook and to hit the subscribe button on the show's YouTube channel. If you'd like to leave a comment, use the box below. All our shows in the past, or including this one, will be available on iTunes platform. If you'd like to share your story, ideas, and be a guest on the show, go to deanbleckman.com and email me directly. I would like to thank all my listeners for being with us today. From all of us at the Dean Bleckman Show, have a great day.
You've been listening to the Dean Bleckman Show, live from Long Island, New York. From all of us here, we'd like to thank you for tuning in. We look forward to hearing your comments via Facebook, Twitter, Skype, and email. And don't forget, you can visit the webpage anytime for the up-and-coming guest list. From all of us here, have a good evening.